Hi everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay since the new normal. I'm going to be wearing a mask. I wanted to just kind of hop in here and do a quick repair. This is the first time that I have actually sat at my station here at iPad Rehab in about 3 weeks. And I wanted to just kind of jump on a stream really quick and just share with you what the new normal looks like. How are we safely conducting business? So what we've done is we have completely converted iPad Rehab to a mobile team distant repair business. And we're doing a pretty good job with that. So here in New York State, we are legally allowed to be open as an essential business. We had to get special permission from the state. Now, the only part of our business that is essential is repairing cell phones and computers. So it's not essential for us to teach our course. So we're not going to be holding courses until after the end of this pandemic, and New York State takes New York State off of pause. So here's how we're keeping safe if you are an essential business and you want to figure out how do I live in this new world. So number one, I don't see my team at all. I have not put eyes on any of my team members in 3 weeks. In fact, just as I sat down to do this stream, I got a text from Christine who said, I noticed that your van was outside the shop. So I didn't expect you to be there. She was coming in to pick up the intake, our mail-in repairs. And I told her, well, you can't come in if I'm here. So she circled the block and I took the intake, disinfected it, put it outside for her to pick up. So we're doing those kinds of things. We highly communicate with each other. We're very much in contact, but we don't see each other in person. So my entire team talks via one of the team chat apps. We use Workplace by Facebook. And that's worked out really well for us to kind of manage everything. So let's say that you're local and you actually have your phone break and you really you need it. You need your phone, especially if you have to go to the hospital. One of the best ways, if you're taking anyone to the hospital, leave them with a phone and a charger, because that's going to be how you communicate in this really busy hospital environment with your loved one when they're in the hospital. They need to have that phone and a charger. That's how they'll communicate with you. If worse comes to worse and they have COVID-19, you can't see them and they die, that phone is going to be how they will be able to communicate with you at the very end, right? So you need to have a phone that's working and a charger if you go to the hospital. So that's part of why it's really important for cell phone repair shops to make sure that people locally have working phones. So what if you have a broken phone? Then what do we do? So number one, we have signage. We've got our website all letting you know that we do drive-up repairs only that are contactless. And I really was inspired by my experience with Underdog at the vet, where the vet is another essential business, and they did a contact-free, let's do a repair on your dog. And so I modeled our system after that. So here's what we do. Number one, you would call our phone number. So that's easy to find on our website. It's easy to find on our Facebook page. It's easy to find with a sign in the window. If you're local, you'll call our phone number. And then one team member is the coordinator. She will listen to your complaint and she will figure out whether or not we offer that repair and what local technician would be best suited to do that repair. So all my local technicians have full stations at home. They have parts at home for the repairs that they typically do. So the coordinator will then direct the patient, they'll direct the customer. She'll set up an appointment. She'll make an estimate all online using Repair Shopper. And if the estimate is approved and they want to go ahead with a repair, then she will text them an address. So then the customer will go to the technician's house at the appointment time. The technician then is going to engage in their contactless repair system. So they're not going to get out of their car. So we're going to disinfect, mask, gloves, and I carry this wherever I go. This is a bottle of 70% alcohol. So 70% alcohol, 50 to 70% alcohol will kill viruses and bacteria, and that's pretty well established. You can go read the research on that. So will a 1% or less solution of bleach. So those are your two sort of go-to disinfectants. Alcohol doesn't really hurt cell phones. It's the safest for cell phones. We've seen a lot of people coming in. I was going to do a separate video with Lysol wipes and things that are using a oxidizing agent to disinfect. Those things are very watery and they can cause water damage to your phones. So we stick with alcohol. So like when I worked in a cell culture lab and I had to constantly disinfect my hands and myself from bacteria that I might introduce into cells I was trying to grow in culture, I'll put on gloves and then I will spray alcohol on my hands, right? And the alcohol then will disinfect, and now I can consider that my hands are now sterile. And now I can give somebody a phone or pick up a phone. I can interact with something. I can interact with a door or a grocery cart or something like that and still feel that I am protected, that I am protecting them and I'm protecting me. So what I'll do is I'll go out there and I will give them a box. They've already seen the estimate. They already understand the paper. We don't really need to have a conversation. I'll say something like, "Hi, are you Diane?" "Yes." "Okay, Diane. You already know the drill from the conversation." I will ask her, "Is this your only phone?" If it's her only phone, then I know that she's just going to have to wait there for me to come back out with a phone. If not, then I'll tell her that the coordinator will call her when it's done and she can go on about her day. So I will then have them put their phone in this box, and then they're going to give me the box. I'll take the box, and then I'm going to go inside and do the repair. I'm going to open their phone. I'm going to disinfect again with alcohol, disinfect their phone, and then I'm going to do the repair, which usually is going to be a screen or battery for locals. And we started running a special because it makes me feel better if they're also wearing a face mask. So what's the deal with these face masks? Why am I wearing a face mask right now? I think it's important for all of us culturally in the United States to just get used to seeing each other wearing face masks. You know, it's not a big deal. This face mask is not preventing me from inhaling aerosolized COVID-19 virus. It's not. These face masks do not form a block. They're not like a gas mask. They're not some sort of respirator. All they are is just a barrier to prevent me from expelling a cloud of aerosol around me like Pigpen on Charlie Brown as I go about my day. The face mask just keeps the aerosolized, the exhalations kind of directed down, and it keeps it kind of tight to me. I noticed when I first started wearing a face mask, I went grocery shopping. Everybody's nervous when you go to the grocery store. And I was nervous, and I noticed that I could still smell a lady's perfume when she was 20 feet away from me, really far away. That's because these masks are not a barrier to breathing in and out. In fact, when we made this one, and we've made a bunch of these. We're selling these on iPad Rehab, store.ipadrehab.com. But we noticed in our initial trials, if you made them with lots of different filters and 3 or 4 layers thick, then it was uncomfortable to wear and you just take it off. So having a light mask, the purpose of it is to sort of to keep that aerosolized cloud around you. Because remember, this virus is transmitted from person to person, mostly through breathing in what someone else is breathing out. And when is that most dangerous? It's most dangerous when someone doesn't know that they've been infected. So it's real similar to other viruses where you're most infectious, mostly contagious before you start having symptoms. So when you're still out grocery shopping because you don't know that you're about to come down with this disease. And it's a big deal. So I live in New York State, and now it's starting to, we live upstate, far away from the epicenter, but even we are starting to, everybody knows someone who has died. A random person, so we found out today, one of our team members has a friend from college, perfectly normal, just like you and I, just one of us dead. What? This disease kills people that you know. So it's a big deal, and we want to take precautions. All right, so we are encouraging locals to also wear face masks around. I would prefer it if somebody came up if they were wearing a face mask. And we're starting to see that more and more around here. So we're giving our customers a face mask when they do a repair with us, and we're trying to kind of ramp up production as much as we can. We have a local group that is making face masks for anybody that can't afford one locally, and we're seeing that sort of increase. So for you guys, if you don't have a local source, try to do the same thing we're doing. Try to get local people, to figure out how to sew some face masks, try out different patterns. And if you're having trouble, or you just, I don't want to mess around with all that, then you can always go and get one from us. So let me show you how to do that in case you are new. So you can go to, let's go to the browser here. Let's go to just type in, store.iPadrehab.com, and from here, I never can find anything, so I always just search mask, and you'll find you'll find a face mask. So these are the cloth face masks that we're selling, that we're making ourselves. So some of my team that's on payroll, we don't have as many repairs coming in. We've diverted them to making masks to sell to locals. We're giving them to anybody that does come in and do a screen change with us, or to sell online to folks like you guys. All right, so that's all I wanted to say about the face mask thing. All right, so day to day, I carry with me this alcohol, and I will wear a face mask if I leave my house. And I really don't leave my house. I've left my house today, so that's kind of like a big deal. This is the first time I've set foot in the shop itself. And so I'm really proud of our team that we haven't seen each other in person, and yet we're still able to maintain full service, because most of what we do is mail-in repair. And now we have a really nice system set up for contactless local drive-up repair to get people's phones fixed so that they have them working if they really need them. So I'm interested to hear, how are you guys solving the same problem? So you guys that are still open for business, what does that look like for you? How are you keeping yourself safe? And while I'm here, I'm going to show you what it looks like to use my station for the very first time in 3 weeks. I've been working at home until today. I decided to come in, and while I'm here, I'm going to do this repair. This is a case of what looks like a classic touch disease. This is a 6+ with no touch. I haven't seen a 6+ come in for touch disease, because normally these would go straight to Mark, and that's what would have happened had I not happened to be here and say, hey, I'm going to do that one. Then our system would have funneled this to Mark, and I never would have seen it. So let me check in and see what's going on here on chat. I have a sewing machine. Can you share the pattern, please? Yes. So the pattern is simple. We've tried lots of patterns, and the one I'm wearing now is called the Olsen pattern. So just Google Olsen pattern. This one has a pocket. And I don't love this pattern anymore, because I think the pocket, it's okay, and that is going to be one of the ones that we're selling. Some people like this Olsen style. The other kind is called the Duchess style. That's more of just the square surgical mat with the pleats. So that one's just a square. Super easy. And if you don't have elastics, there's a lot of information online on how you can substitute. You can make them with hair bands that kind of go over your ears, that hurts your ears. Then you need to make 2 buttons on a piece of ribbon in the back. Ton of research that you can do and just sit around and play around. I taught my 7th grader how to make a mask today. He's halfway done with his first mask, and it's a really great skill. If you don't know how to use a sewing machine, learn how to use a sewing machine. So it's fantastic. All right, trying to get my girl to do the same thing. Give away free medical masks with a screen repair or service. That's tough. We also have medical masks that we've been trying to get from China. They get confiscated. That's probably going to happen less. And it does not look good locally to sell medical masks. If you have access to medical masks, then you need to be donating them to the hospital. And the ones that I bought $1,000 worth of medical masks because my husband is a physician, and at the time they did not have sufficient masks for him to wear, and I bought them for him personally to keep him safe. So it's not going to look good locally if you are selling the masks that they're using at the hospital. This stuff they don't use at the hospital. This is insufficient because, remember, it's not something that you're putting on to prevent yourself from getting COVID-19 from that guy. You're wearing this to prevent your exhalations from giving it to him. Like right now, I have like a little tickle in my throat from talking for a while. And, I would freak out if somebody, like, oh my God, do not cough. Coughing is, I'll kill you. You can't cough. Oh my God. But if you're wearing a mask, then you don't feel like such a pariah if you happen to have to cough. All right, let's get this repair underway. All right, let's see. Trying to get some to hotspot. All right, I mean, that's one of these tough issues. Is it okay? Is it the next fidget spinner to have cell phone repair shops selling masks? The problem with it is that stuff from China is you do not know what it is, right? And that's sort of always the case. So when you're selling a mask, is it an N95 mask like it says on the box? Or is it some fiberglass laden something made out of vacuum cleaner bag? You don't have any idea. And when you're putting something on your face, and especially the medical grade ones, that's a risk that I would not want to take. All right, so, at best, kind of give them away. But I think selling those ones is probably, I would not get anywhere close to that if I were you guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and die. Rick says, this virus dies at 27 degrees Celsius. On what evidence? 27 degrees Celsius is slightly warmer than room temperature. So I don't think that is a fact. I think that's made up. All right. If you have a 3D printer, you can print face shields. Yep. And you can also print the ear savers. That's something that you can do if you want to, help out your local physicians. The ear savers, there's a pattern on Thingiverse for the, something to kind of hold the elastics back on the surgical grade ones. All right, here's the good old Mason chip that we're gonna take off this board. And this will be my first time trying to look through the microscope. This particular face mask, I sewed in a piece of a pie plate actually, so that it can really bend around your nose. I'm not sure that I love that for all of them. We are still kind of actively working on sort of experimenting and perfecting various designs. I think I'll come up with another one to use while microsoldering. Although outside of this situation, I don't wear a mask when I'm microsoldering. If I'm at home in my controlled environment where I control everything in and everything out, then I don't wear a mask. Because I love that the New England Journal of Medicine produced a paper a couple of weeks ago where they finally did study this exact virus, the SARS-2 virus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus that actually causes this disease. And they did experiments to figure out how long can this particular virus actually live on various surfaces. And for something like cardboard, it was a couple of hours. For something like stainless steel, it was 72 hours. But the big thing was that in the air, it can survive for 3 hours. So that means you can do things like leave your plastic package outside for a couple of hours from Amazon, and then you'll be okay. Where's the mouse? All right, let's see if I can kind of get this off. All right. Vegetables didn't find a clue anywhere. Only bleach and alcohol are Okay. The problem is a drop of water doesn't dry out at 27 degrees. Okay. Let's get this chip off. Haven't done this in a long time. Good old Mason. All right, so let's go ahead and clean up the pads and put the jumper, and then we're going to reball this chip and stick it back on, and hopefully it will have touch again. All right. Let's see. So if you guys are just joining us, we talked a little bit already about how we are staying safe, but still really serving that essential role in a community, which is to make sure that if your phone breaks, that you can get it working again, because you really will need that phone if you are going to the hospital. So we talked a little bit about that. Now I'm going to do a classic 6+ touch disease repair that we've done many times on this channel over the years. Is that the M1 pad? Right there. I just read the paper about this virus genome. What does that make? What does that mean? Read the paper about the genome? All right, let's see. John says, I ain't leaving anything outside where I live. Well, you don't have to leave it outside, but you can stick it just in an area called come back later and just, wait some time if you want to be ultra safe. But one of the best things that I saw was the David Price video. David Price is a lung doctor in one of the busy New York City hospitals, and what he said was, that he has figured out how to use alcohol. Like, you don't have to freak out if you're wearing a mask and you have some alcohol. You can disinfect anything that you touch. Another thing that I didn't mention that I do is I carry in my pocket, I'll carry a pen. So anytime I were to go somewhere and I have to fill out a form, like at the emergency room, I've got my own pen. I'm not going to touch your pen. If I had to do takeout or something and they still needed me to sign a receipt, I would use my own pen. If there was a button that I needed to push on something, like at the grocery store, click to accept, I'm going to use my own pen rather than touch the pens of the world around me. Well, this is all messed up. Let's get this sorted out so that we can get done with this. All right. Jessa, were you at University of Maryland? Yes. Or just Hopkins? Also, yes. I did my undergraduate degree, which was at University of Maryland at College Park back in the early 90s. And I was an undergrad that majored in cellular molecular biology and genetics. I'm really liking this mask right now for the purpose of solder fumes. It is blocking the solder fumes that normally I would have to put a fan on or just at least kind of blow away from my face. So that is a hidden benefit. Maybe we'll keep the masks on. Maybe we'll do the next course when we all finally get back together wearing masks. I like it. All right. Incorrect information on the internet. If the virus would die at 27 degrees, the virus wouldn't be able to survive inside a human body. That is true. I'm always interested when these things come up, where are people hearing, something like that the virus dies at a certain temperature, which is, that doesn't seem very reasonable. Who's on what evidence? That's what I always ask. Maybe, but on what evidence, so that we can evaluate the evidence. So tell us, on what evidence? I saw one from a family friend that I had to say, nope, that's not true. That was kind of a thing going around that seemed kind of reasonable, where they were talking about, Johns Hopkins researcher, Johns Hopkins infectious disease person said this to her daughter, and it was this long rant. And a lot of it was not true. And it was, kind of alarmingly so. So you kind of have to always be suspicious. All right. And if there's anything about this virus or about molecular biology or the testing or any of that stuff that you're curious about, that you would like to ask your friendly local molecular biologist, then just comment below. I, just like you, am reading stuff all the time. I am, concerned about keeping everybody safe. I am very interested, and I have a lot of time. As a new homeschooler, we're always looking for interesting things to think about or something to look up. So I'm definitely happy to look into it for you and kind of give you medical, kind of read some research, help you to understand and to translate some of these words where you might say, I'd like to, read that original paper or that study, but I can't understand it. It's got too many things I don't know about. Then we can certainly do that. I can help you understand. All right, because it's hard to know what's the truth. All right, so we're going to do the classic M1 jumper. What is being fixed? This is an iPhone 6 Plus that has classic touch disease. Let's see, classic. Is this iron going to heat up again? I have not been here at iPad Rehab in 3 weeks or so. So we're gonna just do a quick repair before I head back into the hole. So right now I'm gonna try to tin the M1 Micro Via for the HIFA B-Sync line that gets the jumper for touch disease. There we go. All right, that's one side of the jumper done. And let's see. Hey everyone, no buffer live stream today. I also, I'm having trouble streaming from home. It just doesn't have enough internet out there. And so I kind of wanted to see whether or not the streaming issues that I've had on the last couple of these were due to the, my internet at home, or is it just the generalized area is now, everybody's on the internet now. Okay. So there's a nice little M1 jumper, at least in theory. We'll wiggle off the tail of it. Now I actually don't, it always makes me nervous when the M1 pad does not come off, because truth be told, I did not check to make sure that this was actually touch disease by putting on a different screen and things like that. I just kind of said, hey, look, a touch case, let's do it. So we'll have to see if that's really what was going on here. Okay. Maybe it was, though, because the adjacent no stuff has come off. So there we go. All right. Do you think there is a benefit to testing for cold flu virus types as opposed to COVID-19? I don't think that anybody can test for a goddamn thing. I think that right now we are in, that's like we're going down the roller coaster. You're just holding on, going ah. You can't add anything or think about like how they're in emergency mode only. And if you come in with COVID-19 or anything like it, then they're just going to test for it with the existing PCR test, which is really the only thing we have right now that can tell you whether or not you have it. And it really doesn't matter. If you can't breathe, the diagnosis is assume you have it until it's ruled out. I mean, that's why all these statistics are super wrong. People that just die at home, that are like, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, he was coughing terribly and for a week, and he got short of breath and he died. Well, he undoubtedly had COVID-19, but there's no proof of it now. So him and the 100 other people just like him just get thrown in the dead body truck now. I mean, it's really that bad in New York State. All right, there were a couple of these that were kind of standing up a little bit too much. Let's see. All right, in the future, there will be tests that will be pretty routine and easy. I'm tired, but Justice Stream is always awesome. Fantastic. All right, what's that about blood-brain barrier? Let's see. Oh, geez, exposure to blah, 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 blah. What's your opinion? On what evidence? So there's a lot of pseudoscience about all of this, RF radiation kind of stuff going around, which is really reminiscent to how the world responded early on in the 80s when everybody brought a microwave home. And everybody brought a microwave home, and there was the same kind of thing. I mean, I was a kid. I remember this. Then in the 80s, the microwaves are going to kill you. You know, all of this concern about microwaves, and then it failed to kill off a bunch of people. There weren't any huge spikes in cancer, and over time we all were just like, yeah, okay, fine, microwaves are safe. And nobody really thinks, nobody thinks, you just don't hear that at all anymore. So anything that's new plus radiation is something that people think is inherently unsafe. Now that doesn't mean that, you know, we clearly know that something is going on with, you know, kids especially. You know, kids, nobody can stay off the computer. That, you know, it's a completely different world. So we have a very, very different world that we're living in, that no human has ever lived in a world where you're constantly being exposed to electronic information, the stimulus of just, you know, I'm scrolling something constantly. I'm constantly having electrons hitting my retina, you know, that are exciting, and I'm constantly listening to a just barrage of intense information. Never in our life have we had this much choice. This is something I say a lot, that, you know, when it was, 40 or 50 years ago, if you wanted to get even something like a phone, you know, what kind of phone are you going to get? Okay, you got your two choices. You can get a phone that is sits in a cradle that has a coiled up, you know, the receiver is attached to the main unit, and you can either get it, your choice. Do you want to get it in black, avocado green, or pink? That's your choice. There wasn't like, should I go with Sprint or AT&T? No, you go with whatever's in your area. There just was none of this choice that were, you know, did you read a review? No, none of that. So our brains are constantly working overtime. And I think that it's easy to want to find a reason for all of the sort of new problems that there are in the world today. And one of those things that's easy to do, let's see if we can bring down this contrast a little bit, is to say, let's blame it on radiation. Okay, maybe, you know, but I think that when you see all of this like 5G stuff, and the lists of scientists, these people all think 5G might be dangerous. Those same people also think that computers are dangerous. They think that Wi-Fi is dangerous. You know, they think that all of this radiation is dangerous. So I personally, I have absolutely no idea. I have not taken any time whatsoever to look into the science of, you know, RF frequencies. No, absolutely no idea. Maybe I will. Maybe that's a good thing to put some time into now, because it certainly seems to be coming up a lot. But I generally kind of go with the idea that, you know, people that are in regulatory bodies that are making the decisions have their moms and dads. They, like all humans, are trying to do a good job. They want to do something good in the world, they think that they are doing the best. You know, same thing that they think over there on the Fox News stage is the exact same thing that they think over on the CNN stage, which is, I'm telling the truth. So I don't think that anybody that is working on 5G is sort of actively trying to kill people. So, you know, people that are bringing this about, they personally don't appear to feel that there's any safety issues with the research that they've done. Should we question that? I don't know. Maybe if we had some reason to. I don't know. So Jim, if you have something specific that you want to say, let's review a paper, sure. But we you know, I don't know where that fax comes from. All right. Let's see. 5G has nothing to do with COVID-19. That is absolutely true. 5G definitely has absolutely nothing to do with COVID-19 because we can clearly understand exactly what is going on with a pretty well understood system called, you know, zoonotic transfer of a virus from one species to another has happened many, many, many times in the past. It will happen again. It's not unusual or weird. It just happened to happen in our lifetime in a way where this particular virus is at once both pretty serious, but only at a really, really low frequency. If it killed everybody, then it would have, you know, kind of died out a long time ago. But it doesn't. Most people just kind of pass it along, and a lot of people pass it along without feeling sick. So it just happens to be a really great evolutionary advance on how to get myself transferred around without killing people. It's doing a really great job. I mean, it doesn't want to kill you. It wants you to live. You know, it wants to jump out of you and get to the next guy, right? If we can even say that a virus wants to do anything. All right, let's see. All the papers are behind a paywall. Well, get one out and post it. You know, that's not a thing, and that's atypical. Like if you want to look up anything, you know, then that most quality journals will be available free full text. All right, let's see. And you got it doesn't matter if you want to make a claim, you gotta read the paper. All right, so we're gonna heat this thing up. This mask makes holes in your face. I know, because it's green. Look at that. Look at that. I did want to do a Halloween stream. I've been trying for years to get Mark to agree to doing a Halloween stream where he wears a green, like, you know, Blue Man Group, you know, like a green suit. And do like a stream like that. So far, he will not do it. All right. What are you talking about? What's Robbie saying? I don't know. My phone is in my face 10 to 14 hours a day, every day for almost a year and a half. I fall asleep holding it. I feel fine. Well, that's great, Robbie. Let us know what happens at the end of, 50 years from now. Because the truth is, none of us can tell you. Maybe there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. We have no idea. But maybe we'll look back, and I would guess this is likely, that we'll look back and go, oh man, remember, just like we look back on smoking now. Remember when we used to be so dumb that we didn't know that staring at a screen remodels such and such part of your brain and makes it so that you can't remember anything once you turn 41. Who knows? We have absolutely no idea. This entire generation is a massive experiment. Let's pick this sucker off. Gotta poke out my chip. Whoa. I will say that I have forgotten how long it takes to do a basic, easy job when streaming. I definitely forgot that. All right, let's tighten up these balls. Greetings from Germany. My business is working great. All right, fantastic. All right, let's go back and see. Why not put a little bit of green goo on here, which is fine. We're living in a constantly evolving experiment. Yes, this is a, never have we done an experiment like this. It is true. And if you had to place a bet, you definitely would guess that it's not good. But we can't really articulate exactly what that does to your brain. But we are definitely working on a scale that is, far faster than anything else we've ever experienced during our evolutionary biology, for sure. Jess, I watched the Linus Tech Tips video a long time ago. You don't need to do all this, just throw it in an oven. That is not true. That is not going to help you with a flexion-based defect. If you would like to maybe tell Linus, come on over one day. We can cover the flexion-based defects. So there's nothing wrong with the chip. There's nothing wrong with its balls. There's nothing wrong with the attachment of the chip to the board. None of that was ever the problem, we now know. The problem was exactly what we're doing right here, where I have added a wire on the pad for this particular M1 pad for this particular line. This pad lifts up like this because behind there, my little thing, you guys new to my channel, you haven't seen the flexion-based thing, right? Flexion-based damage. You have a chip on a board, and that board in your pocket rides up and down. What happens to the little chip? It rides up and down okay. What happens to the big chip? You can see the big chip. Look at that. You can see right there. See how it pops up? See it? Snap it back down. You can hear it. Look at that. Flexion-based damage. The chip pulls up on the pad. And if it does that enough, the pad becomes floppy. And that's what causes touch disease. So the solution, you have to take the chip off and put a wire to strengthen that pad. And then reball the chip, put the chip back on. And that is your touch disease cure. Not just touch disease, but all of the other flexion-based defects. All right, and now I need to go on a hunt for UV light to cure my green, and I don't know where that is. So I'm gonna grab my alcohol so that I can stay safe as I walk around here and find it. Let's see. UV light, UV light. Everybody's taking their station home, including me, and I might have to go get a new one. UV light. Now I regret having done UV light. UV light. UV light. Well, I think that we took the UV light home for experiments. I've got one over here of the old style. It takes a long time. All right, we're gonna have to go with it, I guess. The old school UV light. Ah, it needs the crazy plug. Okay, so we're gonna have to let that sit over there in UV for a while. And I don't think there's any other UV light. The speedy one that we normally use, I took mine home and I think so did everybody else. And there's none left here at the shop. Oh well, what are we gonna do? I'd love to see Lego make a phone. Let's see. If that's the phone I sent, that phone was thrown across a room and touch stopped working. Well, let's see. What's your ticket number? Let's see. Let's scroll back. That's why the SE was a good phone. A strong stainless steel case. Yes, the SE is a good phone. Soylent Green. Yes. Thanks, Jessa. I saw a lot of your streaming. Thanks to take time in the special times. You are welcome. Do you need those other missing pads? One looked like it had a trace to it. There was only one other one that was missing, and it did not have any traces for anything. All right, let's see. Accept Linus shills for companies that were in part responsible for depleting mass supplies by using their transport and logistics to take from other nations. Yeah, Linus shills for drive savers. They got 2 destroyed drive savers phones right over there. Jessa would tune him broken. I think Lewis told him that putting it in the oven won't help for long when they did the. So that was different. So Lewis and Linus worked together on one of the GPU issues, which is different. It's not flexion damage, so it's something else. All right. I knew it was going to get crazy when they brought the Americans back from the Princess Diamond. Let's see. So who else is still open? And let's see. Ever seen a neurosurgeon repair an iPhone? No, but I have repaired a phone from a neurosurgeon. Is there anywhere that doesn't have the virus? Not for long. Antarctica. Lots of penguins. No virus. It's even getting warm down there. You can go down there. All right. Let's see. Reason I brought it up is a question. I assume you know more of it and it's gotten some attention in the media. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I always wonder. Like, there's going to be some kind of a voice out there. Like, I noticed, like, a bunch of the same kind of comments that were all, like, really misinformed on the way PCR works recently. But I don't know what the original source was. But something out there. Some blog that a bunch of people are reading. But I don't know what it is. All right, that might be all the patience I have for this. This really should sit in this UV for 10 or 15 minutes. UV is really not even... It's not necessary to make this go back on. It just kind of holds the jumper in place. All right, is this cured? Yeah. Good enough. All right, so now let's see what happens if we stick this back on here. So, where's our chip? And we're going to get it back on and see what happens. All right, we are in day 12. Of complete lockdown. Yeah, we've been in lockdown since I don't even know when. It was right around my March 12th birthday. I know March 12th was the last day that I remember going anywhere. I do remember that I had just gone to the Right to Repair thing in Annapolis, Maryland, and I was concerned then because I had to, I remember getting my alcohol bottle and taking it with me on an airplane, and some dude next to me coughed 8 times, not that I was counting, and that was March 11th. So we have been locked down pretty much since March 13th. When I got back, that's when they closed the schools. All right, let's see. What are we working on? We are doing a classic. Haven't done this in as long as I can remember. iPhone 6 Plus touch disease, although I did not confirm that it actually had touch disease. It's here for a touch disease repair. And I just said, hey, look at that. Let's do it. I have not been in the shop for weeks. I have not seen any of my team members for weeks. But we are got it all, kind of all figured out for our drive up service for locals. We're giving them the free cloth face mask, and we've got this entire system where they can call, they can talk to the coordinator, who will then give them an online estimate. Then they get an address and an appointment, and then they can drop off their device, and it's working beautifully at the local level. And then of course our mail-in repair just goes strong. So we've got our different team members that each have their roles. We stagger when we come to the shop. We all carry alcohol, and we take universal precautions to keep us safe from each other, but we have not intersected in weeks. All right, let's see. All right, I can't do business with companies that close at 5. It's not a workable solution. Americans won't take much longer for the government to lock us up in our homes. Well, we've been locked up in our homes for a long time. Week 8, that's a long time. All right. Let's see if we can get this back on here. Let's use these, I guess. There you go, buddy. All right. Now let's see. What font style wrote on front of this live? Do not have any recollection of that. All right. Hi, Jessa. iPhone 7 sim. Blah 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 blah. Sounds like you have flexion damage. Most likely. Right? Sounds a lot like the classic searching no service kind of a thing where you have some sort of flexion-based problem on your iPhone 7, but maybe not. That sounds pretty likely, though, because that's the common fault. All right, upstate New York, Manhattan for peace of mind. All right, let's see. Virus is too small to see with the naked eye. Check it, not kill it. What? Is Paul Daniels ever here? Well, he lives half a world away, so nope. Start earlier at 10:11 and go to bed earlier. American homes are mostly 10 acres. What? Lewis has a tiny flat. 10 acres. That's a lot. I would say most American homes are suburban, and most of them are maybe 1 acre or less. But then you got some rural areas. Not a ton of people live in rural areas. All right. But it's not too hard, especially in this relatively rural town where we live. It's It's not too hard to stay apart from each other. And locally, in our town, we have between 1 and 5 cases that are confirmed of COVID-19. And in the other town where we go vacation, they have 0. All right, let's just see what happens now. All right, let's see. Someone doesn't know how big an acre is. Ha! A 1/4 acre or less. I guess it depends. My house is on 15 acres. But that's really rural, right? We live in the middle of nowhere. One stoplight, you got to drive 6 miles to even get to. So that's what it's like out here. All right, so I've put some alcohol on my hands and I'm just going to see what happens. I've took my hand cam away, so that's not here anymore. Let me just look at this connector and make sure that we're good to go, because I remember seeing some schmutz in it. There we go. Flick that out of there. And let's see if we got any touchback. Man, this took a lot longer than I thought. And if it doesn't work, we're gonna be done anyway, because I gotta go. My unexpected presence here at iPad Rehab is holding everybody up. I gotta get out of here so that we can continue on. All right. How did the tiger at the Bronx Zoo contract it? Probably from one of the tiger's handlers. All right, let's find out if this has touch or not. All right. Good luck. Let the touch work. Job looks clean. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know for sure. I did not try a different screen on it. I'll be only slightly annoyed if this ends up just being a bad screen, because every 6 Plus deserves a M1 jumper. That's for sure. All right, so we'll find that out. All right. So, is he ever in the chat? Paul Daniels? Oh, sure, sometimes, but it's a really different time zone. All right, let's see. Will it boot up? We'll see. My property sits on 1/2 acre, and my backyard is too big to mow with a push mower. Well, let's see. Is this gonna take a while to boot up? I see. All right. Hurry up, Jessa. This is why I wondered about UV LED to detect organic contamination. It's not going to work on viruses. Is this a baseband problem with the iPhone 7 Plus with SIM card problem? I don't know. It's not in front of me. All right. What is up with the 6 Plus? Let's see. It's taking UV for kill it, no detect. Well, UV can show us protein, right? That's how you can see all the cat piss on the wall. I'm going to see if I can boot this up on the DC power supply and get an answer and roll out of here. Oh, that's not going to work. That's broken. God damn it. Oh, I think it maybe needs to charge up a little bit. I'm not sure. Let's see. The mask prevents Jessa from reading your request. Sounds like you regret taking the UV lamp at home. Well, sure, I do regret taking the UV lamp at home. Definitely. That I think has been the toughest thing. It took us a while to be able to all work from home without getting in the middle of a job and then constantly having to retrieve something and come back to the shop for it and stuff like that. Like the UV light, which I'm sure I had to come back and retrieve, and so did everybody else. This one I would not have put the UV on there. I usually don't. If I knew that I didn't have the UV light, then I would have just left that off and it would have been fine. All right, let's see. It doesn't. There's something about it doesn't like. We have to figure it out. Do I want to just figure it out? Let's see. UVC will kill viruses, but extremely harmful to human cells. Use with caution. Yes. All right, let's see. I've seen videos of people going to hospitals and not finding anyone there. That is crazy, and definitely not the case around here. What brand do you prefer, iOS or Android? Me? Android, for sure. Jessa, can I link to your website? On Right to Repair. Sure. Install some antivirus on the phone. And use it as a filter in the mask. That's pretty fun. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see every single one of these things. What's this Rick question? I'm not sure. Pad L4, no. I'm going to go investigate. Why is this? This should boot up and give us an answer, and it's showing the Apple logo and not booting up. And I don't know why that is, which is atypical. Oh, nope, it booted up. Does it have touch? Yes. Yay! Took a long time, but booted up. I think I'll have to check and see if this has a parts issue. What I'm going to do is just take the board out and just make sure that there's not a weird part problem or what the deal was, and just kind of clean it up a little bit. But other than that, looks like touch is working and seems to be pretty normal. So I'm not sure why it took a long time to show that Apple logo in boot. Don't know. Look into it. But that's the deal for this one. So this one is working, and that is how we would do this repair. If this was a local walk-in right now, I would kind of look at this one, make sure it's okay, put all the screws in, make sure it's all tested out, give it a good post-test. And then if it's ready to go, I would send them an invoice. I would have them pay that invoice online. And then since this would be something that I'm not sure I would have them wait, then I would give them an appointment to come and pick it back up. When they came to pick it back up, I would spray alcohol on a paper towel. So I would spray alcohol on a paper towel and fold that up and put it in this box. And then I would give it to them, and I would instruct them to open the box and tell them that the alcohol they can use to wipe the phone off themselves, and that the alcohol will kill viruses, and they can kind of keep the towel and have them check it out. And then they would go on about their merry way, and I would give them a free face mask, free cloth mask, so that they could keep themselves protected. And I really appreciate the locals that are still keeping us afloat, right? Because we need them to still, to kind of still reach out and get their phones fixed locally, rather than drive to other towns and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing. And that's the deal. That's how we are staying safe. That's the new normal. And if you need a mask like one of ours, you can go to store.ipadrehab.com. So store.ipadrehab.com. And then on there, you can just search for, the mask, and you'll find this listing. And we have plenty of those in stock, at least right now, because we have deputized a whole bunch of the, local people, our own team. Everybody's got a sewing machine, and we're making tons of masks, and you should do that too. If you can sew, then get after it. It's a really fun thing to do. When you're sitting around, what else do you have to do? What else do you have better than teach yourself how to make some cool cloth masks? You can decorate them, you can make them really funny, you can bedazzle them, you can put on all sorts of different sayings, you can even make it have a smile. That is one thing that I notice when I go out. No one can tell if I make a joke. They don't know if I'm smiling, so they're like, they don't get it a lot. So, draw a big smiley face on there. All right, so that's the deal. Good old classic repair in the new normal way. And I got to get out of here so that everybody can get to work. See you next time.